Welcome back, everyone. It's day one of the 28-day journey to discovering Phi. I am so thrilled to be hosting this for students, parents, friends around the world, and I feel like the pine cone is my component from nature that's going to guide me through this entire 28-day journey. Now, what Explore and Envision really needs to be, and now I'm seeing that my title on my stream is spelled wrong, but that's okay. Explore and Envision, you're going to explore the part of nature that you find most inspired by. So I find the pine cone most inspiring to me, and I was hesitant to choose a tree because the trees were really hard to measure, in my opinion. So when I was looking at all the trees, and I can show you the trees here. Thank you for your patience as I become more fluent with live streaming. But when I was measuring the trees, so for here you see this is a tree in my backyard. It's an evergreen tree, and it caught my eye because it seemed like the branches were expanding at a ratio of phi. So all I did is I went out and I took my measuring tape, and I had my baby on my hip, and it wasn't very efficient. I tried to photograph it, and I was hoping to be able to measure with my photograph and use a unit to determine how they were in proportion to each other. It doesn't matter if it's inches or feet as long as I'm using the same unit. And then I'm like, oh, the photo has a different perspective than if I'm up close and next to each branch with the measuring tape. So measuring is something that's accessible to all of us, and I want to invite my young learners that are tuning in to just go out and measure. My friend Miss Willett that I used to teach with in Maryland, she's taking her kindergartner on hikes, and they're measuring objects they find in nature. So measuring is the first step. If you just want to get different measuring tools, and then even get creative and use yourself as a measuring tool. This is a lesson from Joe Bowler, the unit me, the unit you. So like, how many of me's could fill this room? How many me's is that tree tall? So measuring is a beautiful, beautiful mathematical adventure and journey in itself, even if you don't immediately connect it to phi, the golden ratio. But again, I noticed, I'm always looking for math, I love it. I noticed that this branch was growing with the Fibonacci series. Fibonacci is an Italian mathematician who laid a lot of groundwork for mathematics as we know it, and he was brave and believed in the Arabic number system rather than the Roman numeral system, so he was very much a part of that transition in the world from different types of number systems. And we still see the number system in things like the Super Bowl, but we don't really use it for calculations anymore. But anyway, Fibonacci, he noticed in the populating of rabbits that this number reoccurred in populations of rabbits, shells, shorelines, many, many different aspects in nature, roses, cacti, pine cones. I'm going to be doing pine cones, tree branches. And the Fibonacci series is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Can you guess what comes next? 5 plus 8 is 13. So what happens is you add the consecutive numbers and to get the next one. And this is a reoccurring series. So I was right about that branch. It was almost in ratio. Remember, if we say that the golden ratio consumes nature, it's not every single consecutive measurement is going to be exactly that. But if we take the typical, and my 7th grade students know what I'm talking about, if we average all of this out, if we had thousands and thousands of measurements and took these centers of them, it's going to be extremely close to 1.618. In Explore and Envision, I want you to envision yourself committed to this 28-day journey. Be accepting of when you need to change course, because that's a beautiful time in anybody's study, is recognizing when one way is not working and switching course. That's when most people break through to a higher level of learning and understanding, is rather than facing a barrier and saying I'm not good enough, saying, wow, I'm going at this a way that's not working for me. How can I go around it, over it, under it, through it, a different way? So in my exploration and my envisioning, I chose the pine cone, and then I gave myself 1 hour to dive into pine cones. So in my notes that I attached in the accompanying PDF, I show you all the things I uncovered about pine cones and about the Fibonacci series. I went out in nature yesterday. Not everybody has access to beautiful hiking trails. Maybe you can look at things inside your house. My musicians, my violinist in my homeroom, I'm talking to you. Maybe music is the way that you're going to find the golden ratio. It very much exists within music, and I think that if you are more inclined to focusing on the golden ratio in music rather than going on a hike, then I inspire. Be inspired. Be inspired by what you love. Okay? So let's take a look at the different websites I visited and how that related to my notes. So I'm going to zoom out. How I used my explorations yesterday to guide some research that gave me so much information about history, and I practiced note-taking. So here are the notes I found first, okay? And if you have the PDF, you can blow this up on your computer screen. But the first pinecone website I got to had a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and I had just read a book by Ryan Holiday, The Obstacle is the Way, and so he talks about Marcus Aurelius a lot. And so when I saw this quote on the top of this website, I was very much like, I chose the right object in nature to inspire me. And the quote is, all that exists is, in a sense, the seed of what will be born from it. And that's what he's talking about when he's referring to the pinecone, or the author of this website. So I found this website all about pine cones, and it's so informative. There was so much information here, and I was really super inspired. I took a lot of notes, and I think that this is going to be really helpful for me in my journey. Remember, nobody knows really where this journey is going. You are trusting me, and I thank you. I'm really going with the flow here, really trying to take it week by week and recognizing the cyclical nature of learning over 4 weeks, and each week has different kind of focuses. Right now we're really connecting, exploring, envisioning, planning. There will be hard work weeks, there will be relaxing weeks, there will be socializing times, etc. So right now I'm exploring, I'm envisioning, I found resources, so this is a great resource. When I was on that website, I'm like, I don't really know what kind of pinecone I picked up. I need to go back out to my hike spot, and I'm going to download this app called iNaturalist, and apparently it will let me know exactly what sort of pine tree it's coming from, and that gives me more information on that. I happened to be wearing my petrified pinecone necklace when I started yesterday, and I hadn't even noticed, but I think that's another sign that I chose the right symbol in nature for me. The third eye pinecone is really cool. It's a petrified pinecone that withstands a forest fire, so it gets really, really condensed, and they make necklaces out of it. And so I researched that a little bit more, learning about what kind of pine tree this came from. Okay, and then I went on to investigating more about Fibonacci and all that he discovered in relation to the golden ratio. And actually, he hadn't really made that big connection, but later on, mathematicians made the connection of the golden ratio to Fibonacci. And I took a lot of notes on this as well, and I'll pull up my notes again. So my notes, are a form of writing. They're also a form of expression. I really enjoy taking notes with colors, and it helps me learn. So here I am, an experienced teacher. I've taught so many different people in so many different places, and I'm still learning, right? And it's only if you can open yourself up to learning, accept the challenge, carve out the time in your day to really explore and advance your mind. And when you get to that struggle moment, break through. Take a break, but don't give up, right? Approach it from a different angle. Talk to mom and dad, uncle, auntie, grandma, whoever's around that will listen. Even if they're only pretending to listen, sometimes just vocalizing your ideas helps you kind of reorganize the interconnectedness of your mind and make connections you never thought possible. So what I'm really inspired by from learning more about Fibonacci is those of you that are more advanced, you could maybe look into logarithmic spirals, which is a more advanced than middle school concept. And then even our youngest learners that are just starting to learn how to count could even build the Pascal's triangle. It's really just formed with addition. And then you can see that the Fibonacci numbers can be found in a specific diagonal through Pascal's triangle. I found a really cool definition of the golden ratio. Two quantities are in the golden ratio if the ratio of smaller of the quantities to the larger quantity equals the ratio of the larger to the whole. And I think that's cool. I think that Fibonacci called the Roman numerals clumsy is cool. So here I am diving back into history, creating some sort of written component. I'm more interested in looking into the Egyptian and Greek and the art forms like Leonardo da Vinci of the golden ratio, but still trying to spiral this, hey, golden spiral, spiraling it back to my nature object, which is a pine cone. I want to measure it precisely by counting, so I'm going to be counting at first the scales of my pine cone, and I'm going to be hopefully organizing my data into Google Sheets eventually, but right now I'm still in just the sketching phase and collecting phase. I'm excited to return to this practice day after day with you all. It's really, really a cool journey. I'm getting better at this technology. I'm so proud of you for showing up. Email me at muddymath@gmail.com with requests to join the Google Classroom. I'm not posting that class code out so that we can sort of protect who gets in it. And there you can share your findings, let's say. Go down the rabbit hole just like Fibonacci did when he found the Fibonacci sequence, except know when to stop. So this morning in my hour of time of research, I stopped after 15 minutes going down a certain rabbit hole because the reality is that I need to budget my time. I need to manage my time. Be sure that your resources online are reliable. Always click that About Me button on each website to see if you trust the author. And a really big component of learning is your output. So I really highly suggest note-taking, sketching, talking to someone, making a video, making a poster, anything, some sort of output, getting used to learning on your own, learning what works for you, what solidifies the myelin in your neural pathways to make you learn and grow and strengthen those interconnected webs of information. And then send me that email, muddymath@gmail.com, to join the Google Classroom. Yesterday we ended with a self-hug. Today we're going to end with a superhero pose. Widen your stance, hands on your hips, shoulders and elbows back, chin up. You are worth it. You did it. You showed up. Smile. Turn those corners of your cheeks up, up, up. Be proud. Explore. Envision. Day one.